right. What up? How you doing? How you living? How you loving? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How we doing, party people? You know we gotta start with that happy time 10. What made y'all happy this week? That's what made you happy this week? Yes! Yes! Free your mind and the rest will follow. I'm pretty sure those are not the lyrics. Are those the lyrics? Zay, lyric check. Is that the lyrics? Okay. Yeah. Yes. I love that for you. I love that that gets covered, and I love that you are getting right with yourself. And I love that I didn't fuck up the lyrics, because, you know, I can't have my black card revoked. I only have but so many. Yo, the slight side eye. Like the yeah, but you got like 2. Listen. This is what we not finna do. We not finna do. We not finna do. This is what we not finna do. I don't think the check in here, y'all. That's interesting. Interesante. 1 minuto. It's shit here, y'all. Let's try this. I want it to hear y'all now. Okay, they should hear y'all now. Try that again. One more time. Run it back. What makes you happy? No, just repeat it. Reverse, reverse. Uno.
So I found out that often the app where you could go up to a therapist, video chat, and all that, is covered by my health insurance. So I don't have to go taking care of my mental. Which is also the case in insurance. A lot of people seeking mental health assistance. So.
Yes, that is beautiful. We are getting our mental taken care of for the low. That's lit, that's lit, that's lit. I love that for you. That's dope as hell. I love that more of us are getting our mental taken care of. And I love that the stigma is slowly sliding away, where people used to be like, you see a therapist, what's wrong with you? And more of us are like, you don't see a therapist, what's wrong with you? I love that that shift is occurring. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What else? What made y'all happy this week? What made you? Yes, of course, Suvin. You know we always miss you, boo boo. Wow, if we didn't miss you, we anti-black. Looks at the whole black ass crew. Zay stares at you in blackness. But of course, boo, we miss you all the time. Suvin, we're doing our happy time 10 with Butch You Joy this week. Zay, Kuchiki, Jax, what brought y'all joy this week? What brought you joy?
I went to the deli and randomly found this bubbler that's really cute, and it matches this utensil set that I have. So I'm happy. That just happened like 20 minutes ago.
That's
So
beautiful. Calvish chat. That's beautiful. When you first showed it, it looked hella purple, and I was gonna steal it, but then I saw the shift in the other colors, and I was like, okay, you may keep it. I don't know what I would steal it for, because it's not like I can use it for anything other than it being a purple thing. But it's beautiful, and I love that for you. Yay for finding beautiful things. Yay! What? I don't know what is that. I don't know how that works. I legitimately don't know how that is used, but I'm glad you found a beautiful thing.
Sometime when you're ready, do a little tutorial.
I think I would need the eating variety. I don't know that we can do that on stream. I don't know that we. Okay. I don't know that we should do that on stream. But I think if I were to dabble and indulge, I would need the eating variety, you know, the chomp chomp, the nom nom. Because you know my little asthmatic lungs may be like, what
Need
the
a
rest?
punch
No.
bar.
Yeah, I need a nom nom. You know what I'm saying? They got me. You
Not
know,
that punch bar.
Punch bar.
I need a little nom nom.
They trying to
Yes.
take people out.
Zay Jax, one of y'all. What made you happy
Um,
this week?
I had a really nice morning.
Ooh. I'm loving that coy ass smile on Zay's face. That tells us all we need to know. I'm making up stories in my head. I'm sure it's not what's happening in my head, but it's what's happening in my head. That's my truth. Um, Zay is an actual storyteller, but I too am a storyteller in my head. So, first off, Cowboy, I don't need the facial expression. Okay, calm down.
I was here writing poetry.
I'll be like, I know my truth.
Oh, and
I know my truth.
also I saw Really Love by my husband and my new girlfriend Yutha. And if you need to know who my husband is Kofi Sarobi. Thank you very much. And it was very good. It was very
Wait, what's Really
delicious
Love? What is
and
this? What is
just
this?
it
What
was
are we
just
talking about?
perfect.
What's
Mm.
Really Love? What is this?
It's a movie
It's a
and it's
really
on
good
Netflix
movie.
and it stars my husband and he was just so perfect and chocolatey and amazing and just I got to see his butt, so that was great.
None of the people in that movie, like, there's not a bad shot of anybody in that movie,
No,
especially
Was it
like
like
no.
all
you kind
black?
of
All black all the time. Mac Wilds, Yutha, Kofi, Michael Ealy. It just was blackity black, 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 black,
Blackety
black.
black black.
Mm-hmm.
Blair.
Yes, worth it. I'll
Soothing
watch
and
it
her
again
easy
and
cheese
again.
spray. Loving it for you. Loving it for you.
Mm.
But all okay. Was it like because you said it wasn't a bad shot of us? So was it like even like black directors, black writers, black?
Black, black, black,
What do
black,
you
black,
what do
black.
you
It
call the
has to
people
be
that
black writers.
not the people that do the lighting? I don't know what you would call the person that is in
As
charge of
part
the
of the
lighting.
production, technically, but yeah.
Was it
gaffers.
black production company as well then?
Black everything, yep.
Oh.
Melanin Make is the company that something Melanin.
Ooh. I like that. Okay. I might have to, was this like a love story or something?
Yes, it was, and I don't care if you don't like it. You should watch it just to see the
Okay,
black.
does it count as support? Don't shame me, Zay, because I feel like you finna shame me. I don't like love stories. But does it count as support if I played in the background while I do other stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
I
Okay.
guess so.
Cause like I want to support, but I don't care about love stories. But I like all black everything sounds like a great thing to support. So like I want to give y'all the clicks, but I'm not gonna watch you.
You'll be missing out if you just let it play in the back.
I don't
Seriously,
care. There is nothing about a just a love story that appeals to me.
it's just Kofi. Just stare at him, and then you don't even gotta listen to
Hi,
it.
Sophie. What made you happy this week? Tell us what
Mm-mm-mm.
made you happy. But I understand, but there is nothing. Is it as good as Romeo Must Die? Why is Subin like this? No, we cannot ban Subin. We love Subin. I cannot watch I just cannot sit through a love story. I can't. There has to be something else in there. There has to be some action. Yes, Sophie, I
There
love
is
that for
action.
you.
Just
My
watch
Twitch
it
fan
though.
makes me
Love
happy
count.
too. My contagion family is contagious. We are
Drama,
everywhere.
and she posted in fight scene and stayed there until she threw the rest of the fight scene. As soon as she realized the fight scene was over, she did.
Yeah. If there's no like pew pew or kung fu, I'm out. I'm literally watching a TV show on the CW called Kung Fu because of the fight scenes. I'm literally just here for the choreo. I have no idea. I care nothing for any of the other parts of the story. The acting is not the best. But that fight scene though, those fight scenes where she's getting down with the get down and busting a move, I'm here for it.
Mm.
I tried to ban the damn word and you keep using it, so. How do I do that in chat? I don't know how to do that. You can't even spell it. Look at you. You spelled it right and then spelled
I
it wrong.
can't.
Look at you.
I no,
That'll be 500 biddies.
chill. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm here for the fight scenes, and then I will tolerate a love scene.
You missing out.
Love scenes don't do like love stories don't matter to me. I don't care. Like, she is so on cloud. See, I'm here for Zay's happiness. That because
Kofi should matter to everybody. So I'm literally, I don't know. I don't even hear you right now. Like, he should
can
matter to
Kofi
everybody.
fight? Does he have fight
Yes,
scenes?
he can fight.
He can
Not
fight
you.
me.
He can fight. Yes,
He
Yes,
can
he
fight
can.
me. Appreciate
I like
you,
him.
J Mez. My brother, my family fam. Appreciate you for that lurky lurk.
I fell in love with Kofi because of Girls Trip. I was like, who is
You
this?
That grapefruit?
This man.
That had me wondering, like,
Not even
is grapefruit
just
really that
seeing
bad?
him in the crowd. Just
That
seeing him in
man
the
is
crowd. I'm like, who is this actor?
Look
He
at
is
y'all
so blessed
objectifying
to be
this man.
today.
Look at y'all.
I don't
Look
care.
at y'all.
I do not
His
care.
family beautiful too. We seen the
That's
whole family.
his
The brothers is
brothers.
fine
Yep.
too.
That just.
Everybody fine.
Look at I can't.
God,
I can't.
literally, that's me.
And I
Yes,
mean,
everyone is playing something. Hi, meow meow. We're not playing. We're about to have a very interesting discussion about appropriation via appreciation. But we're starting off with what brought you joy this week. So tell us, J Mez, what brought you joy? Spider cat meow meow. What brought you joy? Ajax, what brought you joy? What brought you joy this week?
Pretty much the same thing as
Same thing you do
Zay.
every day, Pinky. You tried to take over the world.
and that's it, really.
Not that fucking nap you took on the goddamn couch.
I ain't even that. That was like a
I came out the shorty snoozing.
I
That's what you are.
I came out the homie snoozing. Talk about some, yo, that episode was mad good. This episode was watching you.
Babe, can you let them know that I watch TV without looking at it? I
She
listen
truly
to
does.
TV.
It annoys the shit out of me, but yeah, she does.
Aw, that's
don't be asleep.
beautiful. How do you feel about your kid being back in school? Do you have like the concerns of how your school is handling the COVIDs and the variants, the Loki variants? Because we do.
Nope. Is that the new name of it?
Yes, vibing out with your daughter. That's beautiful. Oh no, but she was exposed to COVID. Oh no. Glad everything was negative. That's beautiful. Glad everything was. Jax, if you do it. Jax, if you do it. Yo, between Jax and Susan, I can't. Let me tell y'all what brought me some joy. So me and Jax pull up to the crib. And I'm glad I have a friend like Jax. Because if I was in the car with either Kuchiki or Kalba, my brother or my sister, I wouldn't. Jax asked me politely, "Do you want me to get out the car and ask them what they're doing?" I wouldn't have been able to say words. They would have hopped out the car. We pull up to my house, and there was a man at my door pushing in codes on my door handle, trying to open my front door. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And Jax is like, ain't that your house? I'm like, yes. What the hell are they doing? And Jax is like, do you want me to go talk to them? Because I'm trying to park the car fast enough to get out to be like, what are you doing? And Jax is like, let me out. I'm going to go talk to them. you park. I'll figure out what's happening. So I let Jax out while I'm trying to park without, because people keep parking really close to me. So I'm trying not to scratch my brother's car, but I'm trying to be quick so I can figure out why are you trying to open my front door. So I park. Jax goes, and I see from Jax's demeanor, I don't know what Jax has said, but Jax has basically made the all right face. Like I said what I said, and I know you heard me. And after Jax has spoken, your boy is still trying to punch in codes and open my front door. So I'm like, all right. So now I'm like, hi, sir, I live here. What you doing? He's like, I'm showing this house, not this one. I live here. He like unit 16. I'm like, baby, that's an A. He like, he like, I'm trying to
Yo, Zay knows. Zay knows. Like, I'm 0 to 100. There is no in between. I get out. I say, excuse me, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm showing this apartment. I said, that's impossible because she lives here. He said, oh, I'm the realtor. I'm here to show 16. I said, where do you see a 16? Right? He goes, oh, well, here is some bullshit paperwork to show that he's the realtor. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. And he's like, oh, I have the codes. Watch me get in. I'm like, I see you tried. You can't get in. This is her apartment. Oh, watch. So he proceeds to go try to put the number. So before he goes watch, he said, go ahead, Brett. I don't know what the fuck his name is. So I look at the vehicle. I look at Antoinette, and I'm like, bro, I look at the car because I was immediately about to turn to the angry black woman. And I'm like, she just moved here. She's new. I don't want to, start a scene. But it was really about to get crazy. So she comes out. She's like, oh, I live here. I don't know what you're doing. He's like, oh, I'm here to show 16. And she's like, oh, the front is over here. He's like, oh. I was like, yes, like I told you. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. With his head down, start walking away. Listen, I'm telling you, if she lived here longer than just a month, it would have been real crazy. It would have been like, oh, there seems to have been a disturbance. There is a disturbance. I'm disturbed because he don't listen. I can't.
She legit was like, go ahead, Brett. But I'm happy that I wasn't in the car with my brother or my sister, because they would have just hopped the fuck out. They wouldn't have waited. They wouldn't have been calm. I'm glad it was they would have rolled the window down.
Nah, she knew. So I was trying not to be rude.
Cause I hope y'all peeping Kuchiki and Kelba's face right now, because they like, yes the fuck, because why the fuck you at my sister's door? But and then like my alarm would have just went off. Like God forbid he punched in the right code, my alarm would have just like the police would have shown up, and my petty ass would have been like, yes, I'd like to press charges for You see my petty ass sister like, yup. But yes, for surprise money. Surprise money is beautiful. I love that. We love a good surprise. I love surprise money. Not everything is a good surprise though. Some surprises are not great. I hate a surprise bill. All right, let me see how to mod you, because you over here dragging it. All right, if you do it again, Jax, we fighting. Well, I just type your name, or do I have to add you?
I think you just do /mod and know how to do it.
I did it.
You should have done it away. Oh my God.
All right. So yeah, that was my happy time. To come on. That was hilarious. That brought me some joy. That was really freaking funny. And then I came in the house. I'm scrolling through Google, and I see a thing where everybody's boycotting or planning to boycott the Shang-Chi movie, because apparently Awkwafina, if you don't know Awkwafina, I think she started as a rapper. I don't know, Kuchiki or Zay, correct me if I'm wrong. She started off as a rapper, maybe. But I know her as the actress from Raya the Last Dragon. That's what I've seen her in. I think she was in something Nora from Queens, maybe. I think that's the name of it. Nora from Queens, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so there's an article out now where they're saying they're upset with her and they're not supporting the Shang-Chi movie because some years ago, I want to say 2017, she basically was like, I will not take a role that exploits Asian culture and forces me to do an accent, because you're not going to make a mockery of my people. And so people were like, oh, you're not going to make a mockery of Asian people, but you out here getting rich off your black scent and your hip hop tracks. And then they played a clip from, I think it was Ocean's, I want to say 12, what she did with Sandra Bullock, where she literally has like a black accent, where she's playing a character that speaks like she's from the hood. And so people have tried to defend it because they're like, oh no, she's from Queens. Shorty from Stony Brook, Long Island. That's not Queens.
That's
So
not even New
people,
York.
so people are like, she's appropriating. And that's the argument. People are upset with Aquafina because they're like, well, she's appropriating black culture to be rich, yet she won't appropriate her own culture because she's like, I'm gonna take a stand, but you'll steal from black people. And so now it's like, where do you draw the difference? Where do you draw a line between appropriation and appreciation? And I was like, huh, what a thinker. So I turned to you, resident dictionary. Hi, boo. Out there looking all cute. You beautiful, boo. Love you. What even is the difference? What are the regular, like just the definitions
All right.
of
Well,
the terms?
appropriation is like somebody taking something that they did not create, that doesn't belong to them, and living in it as if their particular culture has given birth to it. That's what appropriation is. Like taking something and treating it as if it didn't exist before getting their hands on it. That is what appropriation is. Appreciation is just seeing something and like wanting to be a part of it, but respectfully. So it's understanding that you are a guest in the space that you want to exist in, but still partaking in it safely. Pretty much sums it up.
Okay, so with that being said, in this context where people are using her background, her upbringing of like, but she's from New York. That's where she grew up. She's allowed to talk like that. That's what she heard growing up. Would that be
Mm,
appropriation?
my issue with the whole African, first of all, let me just disclaimer: I enjoy her. I
Same.
enjoy her. I really do. But her the fact that she won't do like a stereotypical Asian thing means you understand how bad that can set a group back. So the fact that you can grasp that for your own culture, but you're perfectly okay allowing yourself to flourish underneath a black space is kind of weird because it's not like you don't know what appropriation is. It's not like you don't know that you're literally thriving on blackness right now. You know that, but you just it doesn't phase you as much or at all really compared to if you played a role of like, you know, a corner store lady who can't drive or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like she would never do that because she understands how harmful it looks. And I feel like the overall consensus with these sort of things, the reason why people are so upset with her is the same reason why people are so upset with most people who do stuff like this, because you understand how harmful when it comes to your people, when it comes to what you represent and where you come from. But because it's not your direct line of I don't know, heritage, you are comfortable. Like, oh, I'm just acting and I'm just this. And again, like I said, I enjoy her and I've seen her in multiple different things. And that black undertone is always present. Always. It's not just about the thing from 2017. It's not, it's literally always there. Even in Crazy Rich Asian, she was the blackest character in that movie. So it's again, do I think she should be like canceled or whatever? No. But do I think she needs to understand that it's still harmful even if it's not her heritage being harmed? Like she needs to like check that because she goes into that so easily. Like it's like second nature to her, which I guess could be seen as a compliment if she recognized that she was like towing the line, I guess. So that's my opinion at least. But I still like her and I feel like it could be a learning experience if she receives the criticism, constructively. But I don't know.
I think for me, it kind of plays off the fact that, like they said, she knows what harm it creates. But I think for me, it's also about how people will see it when she does it. She does a black scent and everyone's fine with it. She's the funniest character. Everyone loves it. But when Tiffany Haddish
There you go.
culturally acts the same way, you have a lot of people saying, well, she is misrepresenting black people, black women. She's giving a bad negative vibe out there. And I think that has more to do with what we as a society see when we see that. Some people get away with it. For me, that's where the appropriation part comes in, is that you're doing something that is at our expense in ways that not only does it come from us, but we get villainized for it. I personally would feel different if we weren't villainizing ourselves. If Tiffany Haddish wasn't getting villainized for the way she acts, then I'd be like, all right, do what you want. I mean, everybody's benefiting. Go ahead, take your piece. I mean, we all know that Black culture as a whole is so integrated into what we consider pop culture around the world. It's hard to separate them. But I think where my issue is that we actively know that Black people, this is coming from Black culture, but Black people don't get to benefit from it in the same way that she would or anybody else does. We see examples of that time and time again. And I think that's where the appropriation, for me, distinction comes between appropriating and appreciating, is understanding the responsibility you have when you do a thing, what the blowback that society is going to put on the culture you got it from. You can understand that and appreciate that, and it's not a temptation. Because I think for me, it's where intent becomes very important. What is the intent behind you doing this thing?
So you're saying that what I guess makes the difference is the intent behind what you're doing. Does
Yeah.
your upbringing at all matter? Like, if you were raised like Eminem, he was raised in the hood. The way he talks is how he talks. Like, he's not putting on. I don't think he talks any differently in his house. I don't think he speaks in a posh English accent at home. So I think the way we hear M is the way everyone hears M. It's not a quintessential black accent, but his rough demeanor, I believe, is his authentic demeanor. Does that matter? Or is that still theft?
I think it's a little different with M because obviously M does play a role into it. To answer your question, short answer, but the reason why M is a little different is because people like to be like, well, how do we know it's not authentic? You can kind of tell. Like there's signals there. Even if he's talking rough, there's certain phrases, words that M doesn't use because he knows no matter what his upbringing was, that's not for him. Whereas in Aquafina, I think that's her name, Aquafina's example, like even in Crazy Rich Asians, she was using, you know, quotable black phrases like "Bye Felicia," this, that, and the third, and it's like, damn well you weren't raised on watching Friday after, like you wasn't in the gym shooting with us. Like, let's be clear. You know what I mean? And it's like we can tell when it's authentic and when it's really just trying to put on for a show. Um, Regardless of upbringing. And I think upbringing does play a role, but it becomes a slippery slope because a lot of people use upbringing for why it's like, oh, well, I can use the N word. I grew up in the streets. I grew up in the hood. Pause. It also matters about the background of the thing that's being appropriated. That was specific to people our skin tone, not the hood we were in. So that's why you can't use that.
And Eminem, not for nothing, he understands that. Because as much as he rap and as gruff as he is and as explicit as his lyrics are, he does not sound like a black man. Eminem does not sound like a black man. Eminem understands he is a white man who spits bars. And that's it. That's it. Because urban and black are not the same thing. And I need people to understand that. So, yeah, he don't sound like no black man. He is a white man who grew up in an urban neighborhood and learned his talents that way. But that doesn't mean he's not out here putting on a black accent. He doesn't say, like she said, he doesn't say certain phrases. He knows how to toe the line respectfully. Because if he didn't, he would have got kicked out of the rap industry a long time ago.
I mean, you saw what they did to Vanilla Ice.
What they did to who?
Vanilla Ice.
Not Vanilla Ice. I'm done. So does like the execution of it? The execution of it also matters. Like you can do it well, and you could do it. Oh, Suva says, does MGK have the same regard? Go ahead, Zay.
Sorry, I mute my mic because I'm over here eating. I had to like get it together. MGK, no, he don't even no. He could sit his little ass down. He not even relevant to the conversation. I don't know what he thought he was trying to do, but it did not hit. That's it.
He don't even rap no more.
He
He
doesn't,
changed
and
his
that's
whole
how cool it
genre.
is. That's how he knew to fall back. That's how he
Is
knew.
that the one that dated Halsey, or is it the other one?
That's the one. I think.
I don't know, but he's dating Megan Fox now. Walking around with her blood somewhere in something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's in a bottle around his neck, but
There we
that's not the
go.
point.
That's like the new Angelina. Because didn't
I was
Angelina
about
do
to
that
say,
with Billy
first of all, they're
Bob?
fighting. They're not even original because
Are they appropriating? Does that count as appropriating? Are they appropriating?
Bye, no. But they also, it's not new, it's not original. Angie and Billy Bob was the number one out here wilding doing that. So again, uninteresting. It's,
What
it's not given.
the hepatitis? I feel like that counts as by definition appropriating. You said if you try to pass off this as original of yours and you not,
but
they're not the creator.
let's be clear. The fact that it's even appropriated means it's something to be cherished and like respected and loved.
Clearly, it is a
And
blood
nobody's out there
bond.
be like, yeah, I need your blood in a vial. Like that's a little much. That's some
Clearly,
mess.
people are.
But,
What up, Miley? Clearly, people trying to rock blood around their neck. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
But again, MGK should not even be a part of this conversation. Honestly.
So now I have a question because we were talking about like execution and like how stuff should be done. So that brings me to my next person of interest, Bruno Mars. Does he? Go ahead, Zay, because I saw your face. Because I saw an article on Bruno and it was like he's appropriating.
All right.
And I want to know, is he really? Can he? Does it? I'm confused.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Would he be considered an appropriator? We're talking about. So if you're just joining us, we're talking about appropriation versus appreciation, and we're trying to figure out of the people who put out art, be it artists of the singing, rapping variety, or even filmmakers, because there have been people that have put out pieces, like the old boy that tried to put out the Matrix like it was his, we all found out later it wasn't. Is that
Yeah.
stuff like that? Like, is that like what falls under these different categories of appropriation? And like, how do you determine when you're appropriating something else, someone else's culture? When is it?
Yeah.
How do you know you're appropriating? How do you know you're just flat out stealing? How do you know when you're just appreciating something that is beautiful?
I mean, no, like especially these artists and these creators, like they know when they are stepping in somewhere where they don't belong. That's why they do it so quietly until they get called out. Like it's just
Not for
Bruno
nothing.
though.
All Bruno does is
Yeah,
like pay homage. Like it's one
yeah.
thing if he would be sitting up there like trying to swagger jack and claim it as his own, but the
Hmm.
man like just let the not the little boy, but let the little guy sing and dance to his heart's content because he pays homage to Michael, he pays homage to James Brown. Like he's literally saying, I can do all these things because of these people. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't be a part of the conversation.
Right, I love him, and not for nothing. I feel like he is very much connected to like whatever part of him is African or know that he's very much in tune with that. So it's not like he's out here. What's her name? Gina Rodriguez in it, and then trying to slide a little. You know what I mean? He's not out here doing that. He very much understands. Hey, even though my main base of heritage is this and this and this, I do know that that is tied back to some African ancestry. So leave Bruno alone. Let him
Yeah.
bebop and wear his fedoras and be happy.
Please, y'all.
I mean, because they were saying that they were like, oh, he's stealing from black culture. He's not even black. But I'm like,
He, yeah,
is he
no,
not? I thought
yes, yes,
he's Puerto Rican.
No,
he's
Isn't he
black.
Puerto Rican?
He's black.
Miley
We're saying
Cyrus should be the head of this convo because her black.
we're saying the
Oh,
same words. He's black, and that's it.
her black disguises to gain exposure and sales, and back to regular Miley is disgusting. Fair point. The people that use
Oh,
black culture to skyrocket, and then they go back to their.
don't get me started.
Hold on,
Justin
hold on.
I'm gonna mute. Go ahead, Kuchiki.
Flag on the play because okay, so I've really been thinking about Miley Cyrus for like the last 2 years now because nobody's ever taking bangers away from me. I want to be clear about that. But I also want to acknowledge that Miley Cyrus is one in a long line of pop stars who have that quote unquote black album. And that black album is usually directly rooted in the fact that they're like, yo, I want to work with this producer, and this producer just happens to create mostly hip hop beats. You know what I mean? Or like, quote unquote urban beats, R&B beats. So it's like, I get that like by definition it can fall under appropriation, but like I don't know where do we draw the line because Miley Cyrus has a black album, Katy Perry has a black album, Madonna has several black albums. Like how do we is like can we move those people over into appreciation, especially if they are and I'm not talking just about I'm not talking just about Miley now. I'm talking about other artists who have actively spoken out and said, "Hey, I'm aware that like I'm not the R&B diva or the hip hop like I'm aware that this album is very rooted in hip hop and R&B and that type of culture. You know what I mean? Like if they are acknowledging that, do we give them some I'm asking the question. Do we give them leeway? I'm asking.
The black
I know we
delegation
can't
says no.
stop them.
Nah. Kalba.
okay. So in general, it's a mixed bunch. There's some people you could be like, okay, I appreciate that you're trying to branch out because as an artist, you're always going to want to experiment with your sound, see what new ways you can go. Nobody wants to be in a box. My issue, specifically with some people you named, I get the main point you were trying to make, but my issue with people like Miley or people like Madonna or people like them is that they did this Black album. It got big. It went platinum. They did the whole persona. Like it wasn't just the music. It was the whole shift. And then as soon as it didn't serve them, not even them getting in trouble, as soon as they didn't serve them, they blamed it on things that are stereotypically dangerous for Black people. Miley Cyrus, prime example, went on a show. When people asked her why she switched back, she was like, I was on weed and everything, and I'm like, that's a problem because for so long you made sure everyone associated you with big, bodacious Black asses and twerking and all this shit, stuff that Black women are always being villainized for. You made sure we associated you with that as if you're the creator, which was already bad enough. And then when you feel the need to turn it, you say it was drugs and the weed and everything, as if that's why we do it. I get that's why your white ass did it, but that ain't why we do it. Twerking is an evolution of actual traditional African dancing from the freaking motherland. It ain't just there to like make men drool and get a hard on. She commercialized it and profited from it in a way that Jamaican dance hall artists and people have never been able to. To this day, people still look at Cardi crazy because she's twerking in a video. And meanwhile, Miley Cyrus did a whole pathetic version of it on the VMAs, looking like a dry, raw chicken. And everybody lost their fucking minds. So for me, it's like to answer your question, the short end of it is that yes, there are some artists we can move to appreciation. Bruno Mars being one of them because he never put the hat down. He didn't blame it on some negative stereotypes. He didn't pick it up and put it down on some Rachel shit. But then there are artists who, yes, they want to work with producers, but they also want to take on the whole personality to serve them and then put it down. Katy Perry, I'm sorry for all the Katy Perry lovers out there, but no, no, she could go get lost. She could go get lost. She lost me when she did the solo little baby hairs, and she lost me so many damn times. That she cut, cut. She
Yes.
lost me for Adele talking about her weight and everything, and Adele came back at her. She was like, "When you write your own music, then you could talk to me." I'm
Period.
sorry, get lost. I would not miss her music.
Period.
Yeah.
Cause y'all, I don't know, like, and it's
That was a
crazy
whole
because
ass read. Like, damn.
no, because the facts are the facts. It's not even like, again, it's not like they made these albums like, yeah, I want to work with these producers and I want to move my sound. You didn't just make the album, girl. You put on the skin. Like you was out here. You was
You Fortnite this motherfucker?
you was
You
in the
bought the
club
skin
high off perp,
pack?
literally in the club high off perp with your shades on. That's what you said you was. And now you want us to remember that it was declined before because now you back on the country. No, girl, we know what you said. We was there. We know.
Exactly.
Like
She
it
could have
don't
done
just be
both.
like that.
She could have done both. Little Nas X does both right now. He country and hip hop. You could have done both.
Period.
They weren't authentic, and that's I think what people's issue is. Don't get me wrong. I love Wrecking Ball. That shit
Me
was
too.
hilarious
OD.
song, and I love when Anne Hathaway did it lip sync. That shit was legendary. But and this is where I separate the artist from the art. She trash.
Period.
Good, but she is trash. Katy Perry, the music and her can go.
Yes. Agree.
So what do we, sorry, just to keep it going, what do we think about those artists who knowingly like, because like Madonna, she's crowned herself as like this woman of reinvention, where like with each album, she's essentially gonna grab some sort of theme and literally run all the way with it. Like even right now, like what Miley is doing with this latest album, and mind you, I don't give a fuck if any of these women we can kick them off the cliff. I don't give a fuck. Bangers is staying in my reward though. But like even like what she's doing right now, she's taking on this rock and roll persona and like 80s rock and everything, and it's like that's is this a character that you're doing? So like with these artists, are there any certain ones, and not just like with the white artists, but like with the black artists too, where it's like you are clearly not this thing because you haven't shown that you've been this thing for the longest time? Like, are we going to, I don't know, are we going to make exceptions for the ones that consistently do it? And it's like, okay, you're clearly the type of artist that's like, I know we all love Gwen Stefani, but like, come on, like,
Cause Harajuku girls was that appropriation? Was that proper?
Woo! I love
It
Gwen.
wasn't proper. It is
Was
appropriation.
was
It's not
was that
proper.
proper implementation?
She wanted to be
Cause
Mexican.
she had the girls with her. She wasn't the one in. She had the girls with her in the videos. They was there. Was that appropriation? Was that proper implementation?
She was trying.
I
Was
think it
that the
was.
right way to do it?
No.
I think it was appropriation, but the way society took
Who
it,
the fuck is Fifi
it could be
Dobson?
because it brought to light Harajuku girls. A lot of people wanted to know more about that culture in ways that they wouldn't have. So when Stefani and Madonna kind of fall into that very narrow area of almost positive appropriation, if there is such a thing, where it's like it is clearly appropriation, but the effect it had, like for example, Madonna would dance with Vogue. That was ballroom. That was the trans and LGBTQ community first. And no one wanted to check for them until Madonna brought Vogue. Now it's appropriating because she made it seem like she the one who did it. Nah, no, it's not you. But what it did bring is bring a light to that community and gave a lot of people in that community a chance that they may not have gotten if she hadn't appropriated it and then society was like, oh, I want to do this thing. You know what I mean? So it's appropriation, but in terms of intent, but in terms of effect, it kind of almost lends to appreciation, but not all the way there. That's why I'm like the distinction depends on a mixture of multiple things.
I think I definitely agree with that because even just with the example that you gave, like thinking about what Madonna did for ballroom culture with Vogue, where it was like she obviously came into this world, this very underworld in the LGBTQ scene, and like picked and chose, you know, certain dancers to come on tour with her, and like ballroom and Vogue blew up, and as a result of that, like that had a positive impact on that community. So even though she, you know, next by the next album she was already done with it, like it's she's still technically, you know, appropriated for her for the use of it, but it did have some positive impact on the originators of it. So it's a mixture, yeah.
Agreed.
Does impact matter? Like if you appropriate, but that brings awareness and like rejuvenates that community, does that then
Yeah.
negate the appropriation, or is that still now you trash?
No.
It doesn't negate it entirely, but it definitely softens the blow.
Yeah.
Cause like okay, so here's why I asked that because so these three was it three white women? I feel like it was three white women. These three white women made this mahjong company. I didn't need the heavy sigh. I didn't need the heavy side. These three white women made this mahjong company, and they marketed as Nacho Mama's Mahjong. That's literally Jackson's face. That's how they put it out there. Nacho Mama's Mahjong. And so they were like, yeah, because all the other ones were like old and raggedy, and we wanted to put like make some fun poppy colors. And so all the Asians were like, bitch, what? We fucking played it. Like, this is our shit. What you mean? Like, get out of here. Like, it's our shit. Like, you're not even, like, what do you mean? And so they all, like, Asians everywhere started, like, posting pictures of them in present day still playing fucking mahjong because it's their shit. And so then, of course, the three white blonde ladies that started the company were like, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't mean it like that. But it kind of brought awareness because, like, people who thought mahjong was dead were like, it's not fucking dead. It's just, this ain't for y'all. This is for us. But then it got other people like interested in it, and like people started like flock to mahjong, and like mahjong was like rejuvenated, and people like wanted like to learn more about it. So I'm like, in that regard, yes, it was a Stacey Ferguson. Yes, it was a faux pas on their part because they were charging like $400+ for their mahjong sets for pretty colors because they thought the original Asian sets were bland and drab and they needed to sparkle and pop. But in that regard, does it get not excused, but is there some kind of
No.
I couldn't even think of the words, eh?
Nah,
All I see is like your hand on your head, like.
I'm gonna
they
let
could
someone
be
else
that.
answer too much.
I feel like, cause in that regard, like I'm not sure what they were trying to do. I think they
I
felt
think
like, oh, this is this fun new game, and I'm not even sure if they were aware of how much culture was actually tied to that game. Cause I remember playing mahjong as a kid, and I remember like, oh, this game is fun as hell. But so I don't know how much they knew or didn't know, but I just know when they got ripped apart by Asians everywhere, they were like, oh shit, we fucked up. We're sorry. This is what we meant to do. But because of that, so many people were like now introduced to this thing that they didn't know. Like they kind of opened up a different like market because
That's what's up, but no.
well, all
I'm gonna,
right.
I'm gonna say this. Mahjong was popular. The only people they introduced it to were the people sharing their color.
I was trying not to say that, Kelba.
The people,
But it's still a whole new world. I was trying
the
not to
thing
say that.
is that, and I'm gonna go into a little bit of history here. A lot of cultures, for people of global majority, we know each other's cultures. We know we have variations of it.
Period.
Song is a version of Rummy. If you want to talk about Western games, so we all know each other's culture. This ain't nothing new to us. But when you are from the colonizers who made it their job to suppress all those cultures and only know about their own, now their descendants are like, oh my god, these cool things that existed in all these other cultures. We not new to this. We've been here. We knew this. My dad had a mahjong set in his house. Like we knew this. So the only people who's like, oh my god, such an interesting game is them. And you'll find that happens
Yeah.
in TikTok dance videos. It happens with music. It's like it happens across the board. They're discovering the culture that we previously were killed for. And like, oh my God, this is so cool. Let's remake it. Like, how many of these women came out with headscarves that cost $50? Like, are you bugging? Are you out your mind? First of all, your greasy hair don't need a headscarf. You are not at risk of losing moisture in your curls because you're sleeping on cotton. Okay? Let's be clear here. You have no reason to need a silk scarf, but yet you want to sell it for $50 when I could get it for $2 at the hair store. No, no. So for that one, it's like it's cute, but it don't. No, that's firmly in the appropriation spot.
Again, I say no.
Yikes. I fe- Dankastana. Well, damn. All right. So in those regards, appropriation, even when it brings awareness, is still detrimental. That seems to be the consensus. Kelba's like, I said what I said. God damn it,
Because
Kelba. Why
like,
are you?
because even when it brings awareness, I need people like Christopher Columbus things. Like, girl, you didn't you didn't discover this. This been here. Just say, hey, I just learned something new and I want to share it with you guys. But no, they over here talking about not your mama's mahjong. First of all, not your mama. That's Av. So let's just stop right there. Let's just pause it right there. Girl, no, no, no.
Yeah.
She said, girl, no. Girls. It was three of them. They were all blonde. So is there an example that we can think of, any of us, except me, because I don't have one, where there's a proper form of appreciation that was done? Don't make that face, Kelba. Where it was done right.
Who?
It just in general.
Anything.
It wasn't appropriation, but it was proper appreciation. Like, yes, that's how you do it. That's how you show appreciation for another culture that is not appropriation, that is just appreciation. Stunner says there is no example, it's never been done. Because for me, my biggest, I that is part of the reason I've always hated Iggy Azalea, because I'm like, your black scent, just no.
Oh my God, bro! Like
I can't listen to her music ever. There's no reason for it.
I don't know if this counts, but I would say Beyonce's album and video thing with all the African artists. I would say that.
I thought you was about to say the Spanish one, because I was about to be like, no, honey.
No, I was going to say all the African artists. I don't know if it counts because she's been researching her history. She's black, obviously, but she's also been researching her history this whole time. But I feel like obviously she used different countries. She had Ivory Coast, she had Ghana music in there, she had South Africa, she had all these influences. She's not from all of those African countries. I don't know if she even identifies with one African country. I know she identifies with the South and Creole from, is it Louisiana? Yes. But I think that's a good example of it because she highlighted people who are already artists. She even had music on there where the way she had it set up, she's the feature. This is
Stunner says, but she's of color, so is that really appreciation if she's also African American? Aren't you technically still a child of that culture?
I say it's a form because a lot of people feel there's a distinction between African and African American, rightfully so. That's a conversation for another day. But I think the conversation around that album was really like, congratulations, Beyonce, for putting these people on a platform that they might not have had access to. You know, even despite how many American artists go to Ghana, they learn the dances, put it in their video, but you never see the artist that they learned it from in that video. Chris Brown is famous for that. You don't ever see the people he learned some of these African dances from in his video when he starts doing this shit. But she did. She put them in there. She put them as first. She acted like she was a feature on some of the music, you know?
She said that she's a guest in somebody else's home, in somebody else's space. And that is the proper way to appreciate something, which is why we don't have a problem with Eminem, because no matter how much of a GOAT people may view him as, he is still a guest. And he acts as such. Even though he doesn't like to be called a guest because it rubs him wrong because he got bars, but the way he acts as if he understands that he's still a guest.
I just want to state for the record that y'all are looking at a bunch of beehivers. I mean, I'm not a beehiver, but like the rest of them are most of them are beehivers. So
appreciate what
just
she did.
putting that out there for you viewers if y'all are wondering why you getting all this Beyonce love. Not for me. Not
I mean, look at you.
Somebody here is a beehiver.
Even if he wasn't, though.
Looks to the side.
There are plenty of beehivers, just like there are plenty of other fans of other artists in here.
Wait, who's another one that should be number one? Wait. But that's why I was just asking. I knew there was gonna be a Beyonce card pulled today. It was either I just knew it.
Well, nerd. I mean, let's talk about the Spanish album. What's really good? Why?
I don't want the smoke. I'm trying to have a peaceful day. I'm trying to stay hydrated. You know, Logic. What's wrong with Logic?
Oh boy.
Wait, why should Logic be number one? As an appropriator or an appreciator? I'm confusion. Suvin bars. So of all the people, like, what about in the film industry? And because we talked about a lot of musical artists, what about in the film industry?
White Hollywood, but okay.
Huh?
I said entire white Hollywood. They appropriate everything.
We gotta save that for the Hollywood.
We want to save that for the Hollywood episode. All right. But is there any example where something has done where it's been properly appreciated?
I will say, can I say, like, every time I watch like a Janet Jackson video where she's like filmed in a different country and like kind of putting that culture like on spectacle, I feel like she's done it in a very respectful way because she's not doing it for the bells and whistles of whatever culture she has like on display. Like she's filmed whatever song went to like the Nutty Professor soundtrack where she was in Japan.
I know you're talking about.
With like the future was like the year 2021 or whatever, some shit at the time. Um, it felt like here she is, like she could have like easily gone the route of getting like typical Japanese, stereotypical Japanese characters to play in that video, but she didn't do that. She focused on technology, and I felt like that was a positive because like Japan is like a leader in terms of technology. So it was like, let's go to Japan and like let's showcase, you know, this aspect of the culture as opposed to leaning towards the aspects that like give it that negative light. You know what I mean? Like it could still be considered appropriation or whatever, but if she's like not a Japanese artist, depending on how you define it, but like I thought that that was like a really great example. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's a fun little cute video too. And it's very clear that she's like not in America. Like she's very clearly like in an Asian country. I think presumably Japan. But it's not. That's not the focus of it. The focus is like the technology aspect. You know.
Yeah, I just completely forgot about that, but you're absolutely right. I do remember that video, and I do remember it not feeling like she is. It didn't feel stolen. It felt touristy almost. Like I'm a visitor. I'm here. This is beautiful. Thank you for allowing me to be here. That's what it felt like. I remember seeing it and getting that vibe, not getting like a cringy Shakira Waka Waka. What?
Absolutely fucking not, bro.
First off, what the fuck is a Waka Waka? What are we talking about?
She really tagged it 'cause she knows how I feel about the stupid fucking, so I cannot deal. Right. So
What about
for Africa? Shut up.
what about Shaggy? Is Shaggy an appropriator or an appreciator? Is because it's Shaggy's accent because he don't talk like that. Does that count?
Isn't he Caribbean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
he's Caribbean though, isn't he?
I don't. But that's what I'm asking. If that's not your natural speech, but you use it.
Well, let's be clear. When we
That's what I'm asking. That is why I'm asking the question.
You got to be careful with that sort of thing
That's
because
what I'm asking.
most Caribbeans can pull out of that. You can go into the vernacular and come out easily, in and out. Most Caribbeans do know how to do it. So,
Yes, but if you are only using it for the sake of persona and monetization,
The same way Little John used acting ignorant to blow up his career when he had a full college degree.
the same way Lil Jon does what?
Because Little John, the way he portrayed himself, he made it seem like he was just some ignorant rapper, but he's actually really intelligent. And he even said in an interview, he was like, I was just putting on the show because that is what, brings in the money and attention.
Does
That's
that
what Dave Chappelle made in front of him. Like, he would be like, what? And then he would talk very proper because Little John literally,
yeah, he's very
he's not.
No, I know that, but that's what I'm saying. Like, and I heard Zay when she said, you got it. Like, that's the sneeze is trying to come out. Hold on. Okay. When Zay was like, that's a real thin line. You gotta be careful because especially West Indians can like walk that line. They can switch between regular English and patois. And I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if you are doing something for monetary gain, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that part of the definition of appropriation? Taking something, I mean, I don't know if that would even count, because then that does belong to him, right?
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's it's a little bit. Just because he doesn't carry it with him on his chest every second of the day doesn't mean that that's not a part of his actual.
But then with Lil Jon's case, does that belong to him? If he's literally just like, I'm asking.
Little John was
Yeah, because he's black.
Yeah, I was about to say, he was emulating his friends. He may not talk like that, but his whole entire crew does. Like, it's not like he was being racist or something. Like, that's
Right, but
he was basically giving us Southern Ave at the time. He was giving like what he grew up around, how his uncle talks. Like, people talk like that he knows. He's just like, I went to college and I learned that, you know, speaking eloquently gets you in more open doors. But that doesn't mean that when I'm in the club with my peoples, I don't be out here wilding. Like, just because that's not immediately how he presents doesn't mean he took something from somebody. That's his.
So you can't take from your own people, even
No,
if that's
it's
not something.
yours.
So if
Yeah.
I grew up in the suburbs, not the hood, but I adopted a black scent, it's still not theft. It's still not
Do you
appropriated.
do you
You
identify as a
faking the
black?
funk. That's what
Like,
it
are you
is.
But
are
you
you
literally just said
okay?
No,
Okay.
Little
Like I
John
thought the
grew up.
same
that's
thing.
but that's what I'm asking. You can't appropriate from your own culture whether or not you
Only if
subscribe
you
to that.
identify with the
Only if you
culture,
grew up there.
right?
Yeah, like
If
you
you
can't
if you
act
are
like
in the
you was
suburbs and you
grew
see
up in the
somebody
hood.
from
Like
Brooklyn and you like, oh, those hoodlums over there, but you like, yeah, what's up, my G? What's cracking? If you start talking like that and you feel like that about, because it's some
Because
black
I'll
people who
tell
do
you,
that.
Kachiki comes from me all the time, and I'm like, I grew up in the projects. Kachiki can see where I grew up, and he'd be like,
No,
this
but
ain't the
you
project.
step outside, you step on the block, you're in the hood. Like you might not be in the hood when you in your apartment because it's really not. But you step outside and you're back in the hood. So like that is still a part of you. It's like you were still immersed in that culture at some point in your life. So it is a part of your upbringing, you
Right.
know?
So it only is discounted if you like no part of you. So like if I grew up in like California and I'm trying to jack like I'm a New Yorker like that,
Oh, I get
not uppity.
no, 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 no.
I-
the uppity
oh,
Negro don't
I'm done
count.
with Jax.
Sorry. It like legit. You
No,
can't.
honestly, she's right though. She's right.
They
Hold
can be
on.
appropriate. Like I don't know. They're on the cusp. I don't
This
like.
is
A
what I'm
question.
asking. This is what I'm trying
Question.
to get to.
Do
Like, where are
you
we drawing lines
if
from what part of culture can be swagger jacked or not?
like if like to what Vanna is saying, if you literally grew up in the California suburbs, right? You grew up in the suburbs of Malibu, but your parents are from 149th and Convent and sent you back to Harlem every summer
Right.
as you're growing up. Don't both of those things then become a part of your identity?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
is it still appropriation?
What if
No.
they
So
never
then,
Are
sent
we
me
talking about the
to the
ones that
hood?
never
What if
sent
I
them?
what if they
Right.
shielded me from that? Like my nieces are never gonna know the projects. But my brother or my father, that's all they know. So when they are raising her, they gonna throw some hood hoodages at her. Um
Not
Then she
hooded.
won't. That's
is she not gonna still be able to flex a little bit?
yeah.
Or
Yeah, she can.
now I see what my thing was so big. But you know what I mean? Like that's when I'm like, at what point are we like, I know you
The
can't
point
swagger
comes in.
jack. Yes, you
The
can
point
swagger
comes in
jack.
where you when you disassociate yourself from the thing that you're swagger jacking. If you know that even if you didn't grow up there, even if you didn't spend your whole life there, if you understand and you recognize that that's still a part of you, then it is yours. But there are people out there, it could be black people, whoever, that'll be a part of a culture and then be like, well, I don't act like that. Okay, well then that's not for you. That's not yours. As soon as you start separating yourself from it, as soon as you stop claiming it, as soon as you don't embrace it and show love to it, it no longer belongs to you. That's it.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Copy. So you can appropriate from your own culture if you don't subscribe to that part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you're using it to get clout or something.
So question. It says that you need to get permission, right? From the owner. Um I'm done with Jackson chat. It says you got to get permission from the owner, right? To be able to use the thing that you're trying to put out, right? So that you're not in danger of appropriation. Now, who if you're trying to do a cultural thing, who then gives you the permission?
In this particular case, it's not one specific person. It's more like you take a gamble, you create something, you come with it with the best intent that you possibly can, and then you put it out to the masses. And based off what the masses say, That's your permission. That's if they give you your the stamp of approval, like you did not disrespect us. Whatever culture you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to pay homage to, whatever you do, once it's out there and you don't get, violated and somebody don't tell you take that shit down for you get beat up, then that's your permission.
But
Like
wouldn't
that's
that
your
be like ass backwards though? Because like by
that's
then you've already offended people. Like wouldn't it make more sense to try to get the permission first and then put it out?
It's not necessarily possible on a grander scale though, because we don't have a representative of the black delegation out here giving like each and every person that's not a part of us permission, like, oh no, we all talked about this, we got your form, and I had time to approve it. Like that's not how it works. So sometimes
Got
you do
you.
have to take a gamble, and hopefully
So in that
it
case, you just gotta risk it for a Trisket. You gotta risk
sometimes
cancellation,
sometimes.
like with MJ, MBJ Jordan
Oh yeah.
with
But
the
see, he didn't
Juve.
see. He's okay. He's okay
Is
because
he? Because people was
Nikki got him
pissed. Is he really okay? I don't know. Cause
Nikki got him together, and he apologized and he changed it. It's not like he did what he did, and then Nikki was like, "Bro, this is not okay," and he was like, "Well, what's done is done. About to make my point." No, she got
that should have been the energy. Cause it's all about
she
a dollar, right, Jax?
no, she got him together. Bye. She got him together, and he was like, "You know what? Upon further inspection, you right about this. So let me fall back and make some changes." So he's all right. He's all
So,
right.
question: if he'd have named the Juve, but he was also West Indian and from, I think it's Trinidad, would it have been okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the only problem was that he was not from Trinidad
Yes.
and was naming it Juve.
Yes. And not even that is that he wasn't
What's
really
happening
informed.
in that house?
He wasn't.
Y'all okay?
He wasn't informed on the history too. So that's kind of what made it uncomfortable, because why would you want to name your stuff something that you don't really know anything about? And
Got you.
that's why Nick went out of her way to inform him, like, hey, this is wrong, but let me tell you why, so you know how to move going forward. And he took that and he received that, and we moved on.
So if
And
Nick named it
oh
Juve,
yeah, or yeah,
it would have been fine. Nobody would have said anything.
nope, nope,
Does your popularity matter? Will people let you
Also,
get
no.
away
she's
with
Nicki
things?
Minaj.
Because
She's Nicki
Michael B. Jordan
Minaj.
is loved by a lot of people. A lot of people admire him, think he's a great actor, think he's very attractive. He's a very respectable black man. But the thing about getting, especially when it's within our own culture, like the subculture is in our culture, it's like we get each other together with love, and depending on how you receive it, is how you'll be, plighted for the next time. Because if he would have been like, "Oh, who are you? Did I ask you? Then it would have been like, "Oh no, throw him in the garbage." But because he received it so beautifully, and she was like, listen, I'm looking out for you, fam, whatever, and that's it. It's about how you receive something when you get checked, because sometimes even within our culture we got to check some people. Like, I wish somebody would sit and check Shakari Richardson, but whatever.
That part, for real.
And not even, because people have checked her, and she doesn't know how to receive. Nobody has taught her down and said, hey, the thing you want to do, because you're talented, eventually this is going to bring you fame. So you have to know how to
That's
act
not checking.
when that
That's
comes.
Thanks.
not checking. She needs
So
she needs a mentor kind of checking.
yeah, for
To,
real, she needs somebody to sit her down and be like, girl, you cannot behave like this. And maybe like one of them little white track stars could do it, or whoever else, but you cannot do this because you got a whole other set of rules on your back. So, you know and then it's just I've had a problem with her for a little while now, but I'm just speaking on the most recent thing. Like, she is she needs she needs to learn how to receive love. so she can get right. Because right
Got you.
now, I'm over it with her. So
I think a lot of people are. Because it was, I watched a rant where a guy was like, she not even, you came in dead last, fam, sit down. And I was like, ouch. His rant was not wrong.
Also, she wasn't running for a little while.
Yeah.
She took that break and like took a break and thought she could just go sprint after that. So
Yeah. But back to this appropriation conversation. So my next question is, if you get this permission, so let's say, right, Michael B. Jordan had gotten permission from the Trinidadian delegation, and they was like, "All right, fam, you can use Juve as the title. We cool with it." Whoever the masses in that conglomerate, if the masses were on board, is it still appropriation if they give permission?
To me, yeah, you're just getting permission to explain.
You just have permission to appropriate.
that's like the
Yeah.
difference between I'm about to steal this and hey, can I steal this? You still taking it? It's just you let the person know like I'm doing this and are you cool with it? That doesn't change what you're
But I think,
actually doing.
but like once you have permission, it's not theft anymore because you gave me permission. Now you gave it to me. It's a gift because you gave me permission. If you didn't give me permission, yeah, I stole it.
Let's be
It's
clear
not that,
that
but
let's be clear that the giving and appropriation is borrowing. Because I feel like you're saying the word gave, and
No,
that
I'm
means
saying in the steal version, in your steal analogy, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna steal this without your permission, it's theft. If you're like, hey, can I like, if you once you have permission, it's no longer theft. Now I've gifted you the thing because I said you could have it.
yeah, but he's still taking something that's not directly a part of him. That's
See,
what makes it.
I'm only applying this to your theft and permission analogy. I can't apply it to the appropriation one. But that's what the question is. If appropriation is specifically saying you do not have permission from the owner, once you have permission from the owner, is it now just appreciation because you have permission? Is it something else?
I'm not even sure that question can ever truly be answered because they're really like in an ideal world, like there would be a delegation, but there just isn't a delegation, and somebody is always going to be upset over something that you're doing. If you're appropriating, like it might not like this younger generation might not give a crap and might be like, yeah, sure, you're fine, you get a pass, but the older generation might be like, we don't care if they gave you permission. We didn't give you permission. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to picture a
Fair.
world where somebody is appropriating something and somebody isn't pissed off about it. You
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
It's also hard to make that distinction when it comes to cultural things because there's so many people that are part of a culture. If you're talking about like a song or a beat, that's different because there's legal paperwork to be like, yes, I can use this soundbite for my song. But when you're talking about cultural aspects, things that were like they became popular because of the culture, it's kind of hard to be like, well, who's giving the permission? How are they justified to give permission but not us? Or the other vice versa. It's kind of hard to put that in a solid box.
Can you use parts of a culture that you belong to if you don't look like you belong to that culture? Like
Ooh, that's
Halsey.
a great question.
Whew.
So like
That's
if
a
Halsey put out a black album, would she get called an appropriator even though she's black? Even though she doesn't
She
look
most
black?
definitely would. I don't agree with it, but she
yeah,
most
right.
definitely would. I
Exactly.
say that.
She was
What?
agreeing with you. Continue.
Oh, I say that because again, back to the point of there's so many parts that play a role in it. She is half black, so this is her culture. But it also is about societal viewpoints. As much as we like to be like, F society, society don't matter. Society is what creates a lot of is what dictates what we see as a negative connotation or not is based on how society reacts to it. And because she is a passing black person, someone who can pull off being white, a lot of people would say appropriating, because even though it's coming from a culture that she is familiar with, her ability to do certain things and the reaction she'll get is a lot different than someone who doesn't present as white. Even Halle Berry, who's also half white but presents like a black woman, if she were to do some of the things that someone that like Halsey, who could present as white, did, she'd get a different reaction, because the way we present plays a very big
Wait, Halle
role.
Berry is half white?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Halle Berry is half white, but she doesn't present that way. And so that deeply affects the way she sees and experiences the world. She sees and experiences the world like a black woman. Halsey has the benefit through her light skin to essentially experience the world as a white woman. Even though that's not her culture, she gets the benefit of being able to experience it that way. And a lot of what makes up black culture, a lot of what makes us very protective over certain aspects, is the experience we got with that aspect because of what we present as. You know, a lot of our hesitancy to have other people doing it because we know when you're doing it through a lens that we'll never be able to attach ourselves to, because your people's reaction to you and people's reaction to you will always be filtered through the very physically obvious difference of I present as black and you don't. So while I don't think that counts because that is her culture, it's as natural to her as drinking water. Perception, on the perception aspect of what plays into appropriation, she would be counted as that.
So would like it okay, so would, if it was revealed then okay, Halsey's half black, then would her appropriation be acceptable?
I feel like if a lot of people knew that she's half black, they'd be like, I mean, she's half black, so like that is her culture. People wouldn't be as much in an uproar if it was widely known that she's half black.
Yeah. Okay. So there are conditions, there are instances in which appropriation could be acceptable.
Yeah, positive appropriation, that little niche.
That
like,
small little what up,
Yeah.
bees? Hey, BB. Where does money and legality play into appropriation? Because I kind of feel like that makes shit a little bit murky.
I mean, it could unblur the lines, but in a lot of ways it could, because we all know that legal doesn't mean right. Sometimes legal is endorsing what's wrong. Slavery was legal. A lot of things that were wrong were legal. So technically, if someone wanted to get legal rights to a song, like say a Nina Simone song, if Katy Perry wanted to get the rights to that to use it, and then she did, but then she did a song that essentially throws dirt on dark-skinned women, a lot of people, regardless of the fact that she can legally use that sound, it's gonna be like you're appropriating. In that respect, it's like, no, that don't matter. You still appropriating. So that's where intent starts to play a role. So like they all kind of work together, and some play a bigger role depending on a case by case. There's no standardizing it across the board.
I feel like personally, I feel like if you're appropriating and there's like money in the mix, it's I can't think of an instance of where that's positive, where that has a positive impact, unless you're taking that money for the culture that you're appropriating for. If that makes any sense. And I can't think of an instance in which that was done. Like if those Mahjong girls had taken the money that they made and given back to the Asian communities that they were appropriating from, then okay. Danka! Then I'd be like, all right, cool, not so bad. But I feel like once you start,
cool, but yeah.
I mean, not cool, but like not so bad. You know what I mean? Not as trash, but like you take a thing that is the heritage of another culture, you profit off of it. You pretend like it's this new thing that you created, and then you just pocket all the money. That just feels icky to me. Like I feel like once money is exchanged, it's automatically gross. And I feel like there is no way for appropriation that involves money to be positive. And I cannot think of an instance in which it has been. Unless, am I missing something? Like, has there ever been a way in which appropriation for money has ever been like, no, that was for a good cause. That's all right.
I mean, I'm sure there's some.
Those feed the children commercials, does that count?
What? No. What?
No, because that's just exploitation.
Yeah, talking about 10
That's
cents a
not
day.
okay.
No. No.
I'm like,
We
did
can't
they
even
help?
talk about those molesting ass missionaries.
All
No.
right.
Okay, I don't know.
No.
I'm like, maybe they was helping. Maybe
Those
They were
people
not.
became millionaires off of that shit.
They were helping
They
themselves.
did.
Absolutely
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah, I'm done.
allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, ain't
Nah,
allegedly.
they
It's
come
The
down
facts are
to
the
that.
facts.
Yo, I be trying to save us. Y'all be like, I'll be trying to help us keep the car in neutral, and y'all be like, drive.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
80 miles per hour.
I be gonna fuck that because nah.
Then I don't have anything. Is there an instance where appropriation for money was beneficial to the culture that it robbed? The John
No.
Smith criminals? What?
John Smith.
The way shit gets worded, bro.
What is happening?
Them John Smith criminals is what I'm looking at in chat. That is where.
Listen, y'all know it. Y'all seen Pocahontas. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Put the pieces together, y'all.
This is why I can't take shit serious.
That's crazy. Wow.
Them John Smith criminals is the only time where appropriation for money was beneficial to the people that it robbed. How?
And beneficial is a loose
Oh no, I was
term.
just calling them John Smith criminals. I was calling them, I can't say it like we on stream. I can't say.
I mean,
what
I
want
know,
to
but
say,
explain how that was beneficial to the people that it robbed.
Oh, I didn't hear the question. I was just calling them criminals. We was talking about saving the children. I was calling them criminals, but I couldn't call them
I'm
what they are.
done. Yo, Jax never be with the whole conversation, fam. I'm over it.
I be behind, y'all.
You lagging in real time. How, Sway?
Real, yo.
Is there really no
my,
situation where appropriation for money was beneficial to the to the
I
culture
think-
that it robbed?
Oh, actually, yes, there was one. I don't remember the lady's name, but she made a whole bunch of like Trump and stuff, sold a whole bunch of Trump shit, and all the money that she made, she sent it to Black Lives Matter. And it was a black woman acting as if she was for the hate, made all that money and sent it to the Black Lives Matter. So that was a time when
Yeah,
it
I do
definitely.
remember that. Yeah,
I don't remember the name. I seen.
I don't remember her name.
Oh,
She was out here.
She was like, I'm
smooth
gonna get you.
criminal.
She was taking them
Well,
rednecks
all
money.
right.
Yes, she
Come
was.
through, Black Becky. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was.
And so that would be appropriation because she pretend. I mean, okay, see, that's a slippery slope because then we're acknowledging that white is a culture. Is that what we're doing?
No,
I mean,
not
they
not
think it
white,
is.
but we would
What's
That
the
we would be
racism
remiss to
always-
say that racism is its own culture. Like, let's not pretend
racism
like
is a culture now?
it's a thing. It's a hate, but it's also its own culture. Like the KKK.
Not culture in the sense of like African culture, but like
Right,
culture in the sense of it has its own systems and
Yeah,
players and agents.
absolutely. That's what I meant. Thank you for clarifying because
Got
but
you.
yeah, racism for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So she stole from the culture. She appropriated the culture of racism and supported. Because I said you would have to still appropriate. Joanne the scammer. You would have to make money from the culture that you're appropriating and support it. She didn't support them. She supported the culture that they were trying to hurt.
But that's what
In
you act. That was your
technicality, she
question.
did support them because she supplied the stuff, but
Yeah, they got product for for their money. So technically, she gave them
Oh,
what they
okay,
wanted.
okay, okay. Fair point. Fair point. Fair point. All right, yeah, that's a win. All right,
if we
all
want to be
right.
technical.
I mean, listen. I stand corrected. A win is a win. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it where it's at. I'm gonna take it where it's at. Because I was just like, there is no way that I can think of where you appropriate culturally in any way, shape, or form, monetarily, and it's not gross. But you just proved me wrong. Black Becky for the win. Shout out to you, Black Becky. Um, but where do we land in appropriation versus appreciation? I still think that line is pretty thin. I definitely think there are more instances. Korean fried chicken, is that appropriation or appreciation?
All right, now.
I don't think it's either.
Right, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
it's just a
their own
style of how to cook the
cuisine.
chicken.
Yeah,
Okay,
they have their own.
by appropriation, I mean like Korean soul food as a whole, and like dubbing it soul food.
Oh,
That's how.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that makes
Calling
sense.
Korean soul food. Yeah, because you're bugging. There, come on now. But
But like,
But
answering the
it's for
question
the
is like, is it
soul.
beneficial to the people that it's appropriating from? Because like, it's, I think food might be like one of those easier genres where it's like, yes, people are like borrowing and appreciating and appropriating, but like there is a, I don't know, some sort of benefit to be had for everybody, I guess. I don't know.
right. Yeah. And also, it
I
kind
mean,
of taps back
K-pop
into
loves
what.
to appropriate. K-pop stay appropriating Black culture all the time. So I'm not shocked.
And it also taps back into like Koreans not being the dominant like culture. Like they're also like what Cabo was saying, like each culture within the biggest culture has their own things, but we all have the same shit. Like we have fried chicken, they have Korean fried chicken. So it's also like the mini cultures, I guess I would say, all have the same things but different names. But calling it soul food is dragging it, yes. But like having fried chicken, like I'm pretty sure 90% of the mini cultures within the culture have fried chicken and call it some variation of something else. So,
People of the global majority
right,
all have fried chicken in some
exactly,
variation.
exactly,
And for those who don't know, people of the global majority are people of color because we are the global majority.
right, exactly. And
can
Koreans will fit the bill there. So,
can a Southern Caucasian person call their
all right.
food soul food?
Yogi. Okay. Okay.
If you
As
want to
long
say Paula Dean, just say that because no. Come on now. Let's be honest here. Come on. Like, no.
Ooh. Yo, stay with the straightaway.
That would imply that Paula Dean, possesses the soul of what she is cooking for. So the answer is no.
yeah,
They can make southern food, but
Right.
not
So the
soul.
home style, like that's what they need to that's what they need to call that. Home style food. Ain't no soul food. Keep that over there. Keep it on the Egos box for
Fam
real.
said home style.
For real. That's what it's called on the Egos box when they put the little home style. That is white southern cuisine. Do that. But soul food don't got
I
nothing to
need
do
Zay
with
to
that.
stop.
I'm just
I need
saying.
her to chill out. Cut it
They be reaching
out.
with that. They be reaching with that. So I made soul food. No, you didn't.
Are there certain cuisines that you can't make because that is appropriation? Or
I don't
is
believe you
food
can't
not
make
part
them.
of a cultural thing? Is food anybody can make any dish?
I don't think you can't make
You
them.
can
I
make
don't think like
anything.
you automatically making it makes you an appropriator, but it again it's how you present it, how you
Right.
do it.
So, like Billy, if I tried to
So
make you some souvlaki, would you trust it? Because like Billy's Greek, and I'm clearly not Greek. But like I went to Greece once, Um,
I'm dead.
I
See,
mean,
come
I
on,
wouldn't say
that
because you said you went to
that is
Greece
a problem.
once.
That because it's a lot of that. People go to France one time. Now all of a sudden it's escargot everywhere. No, like come on, man.
Right.
listen, me and
Like
my
it's,
S
it's a
card
difference.
got we
It's a
lit,
difference
right,
between
Olivia?
being. It's a difference between you going to Greece once and Gordon Ramsay, who spent years training under French
right,
chefs and German chefs and things like that. There's a difference. It's also about paying, again, homage to where you're taking the dish from. So, like, some people will take a dish and remix it, but they're like, I wanted to remix it because I love this food so much. It actually comes from this, that, and the third. That's different. But when you're like, oh my God, let me just slap this shit together and da 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 da, it's kind of like, eh. But the reason why I say it's a thin line is because it's not negatively affecting the community you're taking it from when you eat some remixed version of ramen noodles.
right,
Unless, like, for the most part, people are not being villainized for the type of food they eat. The one example I can think of is like, it's a stereotype that I don't know if it's even true. I don't think it's true. Is like how people judge people for eating pig's feet or
yep, mhm,
intestines
yep,
or like people used to look at me crazy when I said there's cow feet in peanut soup. People sometimes look at you like, what the fuck? Why are you eating all that different stuff? It's like, wait. When y'all are eating escargot, it's fine. For me, eating cow feet is a problem.
right.
In my eyes, they're the same level of weird.
Right,
If you
and I
want to
feel
talk
like
about it.
the level of appropriation will also come in is like if my family grew up on pig feet and we were looked down upon, for it, and then you come out and put a little freaking ranch on it, and now all of a sudden it's an entirely new meal. Like that is appropriation. That's too much. Because if I get penalized for it or told that I'm less than or I'm poor or whatever, and then you put a little sriracha on it, and
Finn
now
says sriracha.
it's a vibe. Like that's different. That's different. Like
A
that's
little blue
Yeah.
appropriation.
cheese, you know?
Right, a little freaking agave or whatever with a little kale on the side. Now all of a sudden it's a new meal. Like that's different.
Nah,
Like
nah.
Yo, these little
Stop.
like bloggers be blowing my mind sometimes with their remixes, and I'm just like, oh,
right,
Don't
that's what
let
I'm
Tofu hear you
saying.
say that. Tofu will fight you. um, so last question that I personally have as an anime watcher. Now I, as y'all know, love me some fucking anime. As you know, anime I watch Japanese. I watch it in sub over dub. For me personally, I feel like it was made the original voice actors are what draws me to it. I feel like that dramatics of it all is what gets me, how extra they be. Now, when I'm on Insta and I see all these people that make their videos of all various cultural backgrounds and they're dressed up, cosplay, is that appropriation? You're clearly dressing up as this Asian character, but you're not Asian. Is that appropriation or is that appreciation? It's
Are
not
you saying you
Halloween,
discovered the character?
but you're
If you're
dressed up and you're mimicking the words. You don't speak the language. I know you don't speak the language. I watch your other videos, and you only do it when you have that whatever it is. Where there's like the original audio at the bottom. So you don't actually know what you're saying. I don't believe that they know what they're saying. They're just using those popular audio things. So you like do it over the. You do it like you just mouth over the words. I don't know what that's called, but like it's like a TikTok where it has like an audio and you try to talk over the like pretend like you're
hmm
saying it, but they'll dress up and they'll do that to make a video. So you're dressed
that's
up like an Asian character, you're speaking the Japanese, you're mouthing the Japanese, but you're not actually mouthing the Japanese. Um, because the rest of your videos are when you're actually talking, they're in English. You sound like you're from America.
again, it's
Is
all
that
about how you
appropriation or
present
appreciation?
something. Honestly, it's really about how you present something. Cause like you can't tell me I can't dress as Sailor Moon. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
do
you
that.
dressing as Sailor Moon and then literally pretending to speak Japanese for the sake of a
Yeah,
video and some
that's
likes.
crazy. Like
That's what I
that's
mean.
crazy.
That's
That's
dressing up because I do cosplay, but I don't pretend to speak a language I don't fucking speak.
more like that's less about appropriating and more about just being out and out offensive. Like that's just that it's not. It doesn't even fit the cat. At that point, once you start like mimicking a language you don't even know anything about, now you just got to get thrown in the garbage. It's not. It's not even appropriation no more.
Not the garbage.
They're just doing too much for too little at that point.
But there are a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, and they're all
Um,
garbage cans.
so all of the
I don't know.
TikTokers that do that,
I don't know if
because
that's
there's a lot of
necessarily.
them that do the dub, that talk over the sound, that like mouth over the sound, and they'll make it where it's the sound and it'll say something else. It's like that's not even. I'm pretty sure that's not what the sound is saying, but you don't know what the sound is saying. You just thought it was a funny sound and you wanted to make a clicky video for some likes, and I'm like,
I
Yeah,
would
but I
say
think there's a
it's.
lot
I
of
would say
anime lovers that
y'all
just do that because they like the anime. I don't think it's like
it'd be one thing.
to
I'm not
try to
talking about those
appropriate.
people though. I'm not talking about the people that get in character and are pretending to be the character. I'm talking about the people that are dressing up and like you. I'm talking about the ones that like dress up and you're pretending to do a thing that you're not actually doing, and it's like a whole other thing that you're actually saying because you don't actually speak Japanese. You don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Are
It's
you
you.
talking? Is it kind of like when Kenya wore that fucking Native American costume on Housewives? Because if that's the case, then yeah, that's appropriation. Like, because she really dragged it, put the whole headdress on, and
You lost me.
did
I
the
don't know who
most, and
Kenya
was acting
is.
like a Native American, like or what she perceived a Native American to be, I guess.
It's a
And
it's similarly, I guess, because it'll be a bunch of different people pretending they're in full garb of different characters sometimes. Sometimes they're not even dressed up, but they're pretending to speak whatever language is dubbed over, but it'll say a different message than what is actually being said. So it's not like I'm translating the language that you're hearing. I'm just putting my own message to make a funny video, but I'm like, but you're
but dressing as a character and dressing as a culture is not the same thing. Because if
right,
it's
but
still
you're dressing as an Asian, like so they'll do like the girls will do the shadow thing to their eyes to make it look away. I don't want to say the word that I was going to say because I don't think that's appropriate, but you know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
when I'm like, you're going a bit. Just put on the outfit and call it. Just mouth the words and call it. Why do you have to take it the extra step to do
I mean,
more?
some people do drag it. Some people do
And
drag
that's
it,
what
and
I'm
I guess
saying. When you take it extra, is that extra step then?
yeah, that's
Like when you
yeah,
do the eye stuff, is that now? Why did you need to do the eye
Yes.
stuff?
yes,
So the
that's
eye stuff is definitely appropriation. I don't
yes.
know if the voiceover is necessarily that because some people, like yourself, who like the Japanese version, and as someone who studied Japanese for like 2 years in college, the intonation, the pronunciation is very different, and there's a lot of dramatics in how they say even the simplest things. And sometimes that's what you're attracted to in terms of the whole character's persona. Is how they like have that growl in their voice sometimes when they're talking. If you ever listen to the
Yeah.
voice actors, they have this growl that they like to do. And sometimes that's what's attracting is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Same reason why we say we like this British actor. When he speaks, he sounds so sexy. It's kind of the same along
Yeah.
those same lines. So
That's
a
not what
lot
I'm
of
talking
people
about though.
imitate it, even
See,
though they
but it,
don't. Oh, God.
sorry, I was because I think I think what Vanna is focusing on is like the vocal aspect of it. Like, does that count as appropriation? And if they're doing it to be funny, is it like a form of? I almost want to say like, are you like, is it minstrelsy a little bit, like a sort of
Mm,
play on like minstrel anime in a way?
Yeah,
I
because it's
don't
Because
like
know, because I feel like there's some people
if
that are
like
cool.
let's say in Japanese they were saying my cat went to the store. Like let's say that's what they were saying in Japanese. And they'll mouth that, but then their text would say something else, like when my best friend does this. And they'll be like super extra. And
Oh,
I'm
then
like,
in that case they're trolling. Yeah, that's
and I'm
I
like,
That's
is
that's
that
what.
a form of, because
yeah.
then you're doing the eye thing. You're and I'm like, but you could have just made your video in your regular clothes to do your same to get
Well,
your same point, to get your same message. You didn't have to be this extra Asian character for your video. You could have just
well,
done
that's
your
what I try to make the
video
distinction.
regular. If that
And
makes
you're
any sense, you
saying
get what I'm saying?
non-Asian, you're
In
Yes.
saying
that
it's
case, then
non-Asian
yeah.
people doing it?
They're not Asian. They'll
But
be
this is
like
the thing.
other
We're
cultures
talking
doing
about
it.
we're talking about false characters though. These aren't real life people. These are false characters, number one. Number two, a lot of animes have drawn their characters after the white look. Like
Yeah.
nobody in Dragon Ball Z looked like the stereotypical Asian. I was like, why are these motherfuckers walking around with blonde hair
That
and sounding like Tom in my class
Fib
versus
said Tom. Right, but if that's the
you know what I
case,
mean?
if that's
So
the case, then why you doing that? Why you drawing that stuff on your eyes?
no, that's what I'm saying. I need to make the distinction. The eye part, when you're trying to make yourself look like another like a feature that is common with another ethnicity, yes, that is absolutely appropriated. When you try to make your nose look wider to do a black foot or whatever, that is appropriated.
uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is that when it's like, oh, let me dress up as this anime fictional, not real person character to make a funny thing, it's almost on the same length as like a meme when you're like, but it's just like you put your body in it instead of just cropping a
I
picture.
guess I just take
You know,
issue
I think
with
you just
it
click on the
because
slow.
you're highlighting Asian features, even though you are clearly not Asian. And it's like even if
Mhm.
you're picking a character, you could pick the character, you could put on the clothes, and it's clear you're the character. You don't have to
Right,
do the other
absolutely.
stuff to be you could just be the character in the clothes. It's fine. Like when
I
I
mean,
It
when
would
I
be
do
like
cosplay, I just put on the clothes. Like I don't.
it would be like a white person putting like dressing up as like Medea, and then doing all of the characteristics of Medea. Is that what it's? Is that what the? Is that
But
kind of
if
what it's into?
a
Or
white person doing the characteristics in blackface is what I'm seeing, but their version is like
Yeah,
Asian
the
face,
blackface is
I,
a problem.
I
yeah.
Yeah,
think
but
that's
they're
fine.
doing like Asian face, and then it's instead of black scent, they're doing the Asian version of that. I don't know what that would be called.
Yeah, but
Right, but there's a difference between doing an Asian accent, which is appropriation, and then doing a voiceover over an Asian language and then making it funny. That's why I'm saying I draw the
But
distinction
that's why
there.
I
I
was
know you don't.
asking.
I don't.
Yeah, but that's why I'm like that whole rombo combo for me feels like you're doing the. I'm like, are you?
I
Because
mean, it's not for
anime is
everybody,
in
but
my
there is
mind. Anime is
distinction.
Like that's Japanese. You take that's part of that's their thing. You know what I mean? Yes, we all love it. We appreciate it, but we can appreciate it without trying to be Asian. Like when I dress up, I don't do anything to my eyes. I don't do anything to my color. You could put on a wig, yeah, but you don't have to change your features to look like an ethnicity that you are not. You could just get dressed and
I
call it.
mean,
You
some
know what I
people are
mean?
already in the wig part.
I mean, some people do be going the whole shebang and faking they doing all that. I mean, it really is. It
Yeah,
depends.
like one girl put mad powder on and look like, and I'm like, yo, you wildin', and that's why I was like, is this appreciation? Like I feel like we have gone past appreciation with cosplay to we've slid into the realm of appropriate. At least that's what I
Yeah,
thought. That's why I asked the question.
it's
Um,
definitely a situational thing. It's definitely situational, and again, it's about intent because especially with these TikTokers, you know when somebody does something to clown somebody else, you can feel it in the video.
yeah.
It's not you can feel when they doing it because they got love for whatever they're doing, or if they trying to clown or minimize the effects or whatever. Like you can feel that. So if you watch the video and you feel like somebody is going out of their way to troll, then clearly they're appropriating for shits and giggles. But clearly, if you could feel the love radiating, like, oh, I love this character so much and I identify with them and I want to be them, then fine. That's different than, coming for it's in that regard, it's about intent. What do you mean to do? Are you trying to troll? Are you trying to hurt feelings? Are you trying to just have a good time and get a little kiki in? Then fine. But it really depends on what you're trying to convey in those situations. Because a lot of those TikTokers are doing videos like that, but not all of them are coming from a place of like, oh, I'm gonna take this and use it and then make fun of it. Like, not everybody's coming from that place, but some people are. So it's very much situational.
It reminds me a little bit of the way that people, because like the way that everybody tweets on Twitter, they're basically using AAVE. Like,
Every
no matter if
day.
you, like, it doesn't matter if you're white, black, like that's literally the official language of Twitter.
Yes,
It's
black people on
AAVE.
Twitter.
And sometimes like you'll look and it's like this person is like the most mayonnaise person, but like you have to I guess take a minute to compartmentalize and realize like this person might just be immersed in Twitter, and if this is the way that people are on Twitter, then they're just gonna roll with the punches. And even though it might be like offensive, like if their intention isn't to offend anyone, like do you hold them accountable for it? I don't. I like. It's almost like you just gotta let it slide. Not that that's what like you should do in your situation. It's just reminding me of like in terms of like social media, like it's such a
Right,
different world when it comes to thinking about appropriation
right.
versus like appreciation or just the norm, so to speak.
Black
Yeah.
culture is pop culture. So we kind of got to remember that when things are happening. Because sometimes we like, are you being racist? But there's like, little Becky talking about drop the Addy because I'm about to pull up. But that's just the way people talk now because we made that
Right.
cool. We made that a thing. So people take
We
that as a thing.
bobbing.
You know what I
There's a
mean?
reason why TikTok came to a full stop when black TikTokers started protesting. There's a reason for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We
Exactly.
literally drive the wheels all the damn
To
time. Like
everything. Yep.
Picasso's art that everybody loves, that's African art that he took, and now he's the one that everybody's paying millions. But none of those artists he got inspiration from were ever known. They died broke and
Exactly.
poor.
Hmm. Exactly.
Damn, this has been a riveting ass episode, y'all. Learned so much about appropriation and appreciation. What I learned is that more people appropriate than appreciate in the public eye. That's what I
And more
learned.
people of color appreciate than appropriate.
Exactly.
Ooh, talk to him. Talk to him. All right. This has been very, very fruitful. Any last thoughts anyone wants to share? Anybody? Any of y'all appropriate or appreciate? Jax appropriates. Just putting that out there.
Do it like it should be, Day. All right.
I'm
Thank
done. Why
you.
is she fucking like this? All right. Next week, please join us as we talk about the natural hair journey. It's gonna be interesting, y'all. We love y'all. We out.
Bye.
Bye.